Good morning, everybody! Welcome to another edition of Jay and Jay in the Morning. Hope you've all been well. Please welcome our guest, Vice President of the Sports Media Club, Corey Picard. Corey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
All right, Corey, what did you have for break?
What's that?
What did you have for break?
Oh gosh.
I put it in the Urban Dictionary. It's an abbreviation for breakfast.
I
story.
figured that one out. Yeah. I had some cereal like most mornings.
What kind of cereal?
Today was some nice honey bunches of oats. So yeah, good start to the day.
Based cereal. Based honey bunches of oats. As for me, I had a bacon, egg, and cheese wrap from the Abbey, some coffee, and a sweet taste of victory because registration didn't screw me over for classes. So let's go, champ.
For me, I also had bacon, egg, and cheese from Thea's. I probably went about an hour before you, Justin. Anyway, we got a great show for you guys. So let's get right into it. First topic is a big trade that happened in the NFL. Pretty relatively quiet trade deadline. Not a ton of trades in the NFL, but Von Miller was traded from the Denver Broncos, 8-time Pro Bowler, to the Los Angeles Rams for a second and a third round draft pick. Corey, I'll start with you. What do you think of a trade, and does this make the Rams the favorites to win the Super Bowl?
You know, I really like the Rams this year. I was a little doubtful just on how everything would come together, but it's come together fantastic for them. Von Miller is only it's a big addition. I mean, he hasn't been great, but statistic-wise, but he's still Von Miller. I think people overlook him now. He's not that old. I believe he's only 31. He still has a lot of talent. He showed that in Denver, though the stats won't tell you that. He has showed the ability to get to the quarterback, and playing alongside Aaron Donald will show how good he really is. You know, guys like Leonard Floyd, but before him, Dante Fowler Jr. looks incredible alongside him. So I can only imagine a talent like Von Miller. Does it make them favorites? The NFC is kind of stacked right now. You know, the Packers, the Cardinals, the Bucks, they're all very, very big favorites. I mean, the Rams did beat the Bucks, but come playoff time, the Bucks are probably still the favorite. I mean, they returned 22 of 22 starters. Yes, they've had injuries. And they don't have those 22 starters anymore, but they're still the defending champions. And until a team beats them in the playoffs, I think they're the favorites, but the Rams are right on their tail. And, you know, we knew what that team had if Matthew Stafford is as good as he's shown he could be, and he is. He has been as good as that, and I think they're the number 2 team. And then probably the Packers, and then maybe the last undefeated team in the Cardinals. They've surprised me better than I expected, although I know they had talent. But yeah, I think the Rams are right up on their tail, on the Bucks' tail, and they've proven that they don't care about draft picks because they get the talent that they know is good, and Von Miller will have an impact on that team.
You know, something that's always been really impressive about the Rams has always been their defense. Like I've always said, if we look at their defense versus their offense, I've always thought their defense is just a lot like better looking. And I feel if anything's going to carry that team, it will be their defense. And they definitely got an upgrade at the beginning of the season or in the offseason when they decided to finally get rid of Jared Goff and put in Matthew Stafford, who actually deserves to win a ring. Unlike Jared Goff, who I don't think he's that good. I think he's overrated. And it shows because the Lions are 0-8. But then again, they are the Lions. So I can't really blame it all on Jared Goff. The other big thing is, though, is that now you have kind of like a big 3 on the defensive end in the Rams, to where you have Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and now Von Miller, who was really, really good on the Broncos. I did not expect him to go to the Rams. I didn't expect him to go to a different team at all, and let alone for a second and third round pick, because he is just such a good defender. Does it make them Super Bowl favorites? No. Does it make them contenders? Yes. I do think they could make the NFC Championship with them. But as Corey said, it is stacked right now, and I do think that the NFC Championship will probably come down to Rams Cardinals, and I think it's gonna be a really good game to where both of those teams definitely deserve to make it to the Super Bowl. But I would definitely say that originally with Stafford on there, they became playoff contenders without a doubt. But now with the addition of Von Miller on that defensive end with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, I think they're gonna be NFC Championship contenders.
Yeah, obviously a crazy move, a complete steal from the Rams. Being said, just so you know, the Rams, I don't know what is up with Les Snead and just not liking draft picks. Their last first round pick was Jared Goff. That was 2016. I think they have 4 picks next year. That being said, it's worked out. They've made the playoffs almost every year. Like, I think 4 of the last 5 years they've been in the playoffs. They went to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, who, by the way, Justin, you're right. I think he's absolutely terrible. I don't think he'll be a starter anywhere next year. Yeah, this is a huge move. Von Miller is an 8-time Pro Bowler. You have him and Aaron Donald on one line. You got Larry Floyd, Ramsey in the secondary. This is a 7-1 football team. It just got a whole lot better. So it's a big move. To make them Super Bowl favorites. I picked them to come out of the NFC to begin the year. I thought they were that good. I thought Stafford's that good. I really thought he was just being oppressed by just the horribleness of the Detroit Lions franchise. And he has really played great. He's having one of the best years of his career. The Cooper Cup's definitely stepped up. And like you guys said, Arizona's an excellent team. Tampa's an excellent team. Green Bay's an excellent team. Even Dallas looks really good. I don't trust Dallas to win a playoff game still, because they always show up in the playoffs for the last 20 years, but we'll see. They definitely look like they're going to at least make a run at the NFC Championship. So that conference is so loaded right now. So I definitely think the Rams have a good shot. If I had to pick one team, I would probably pick them, but there's so many teams in the NFC right now that are really good. So we'll see, but that's a huge move for the Rams, and then only give up a first-round pick for a guy like Von Miller. And I guess we'll see how far he's able to take them.
All right. Moving on. So if you guys didn't see, the Jets finally won another football game. I didn't even know they could do that. However, they didn't win with Zach Wilson, the guy that was projected to be like the next Jesus of this team. They won with their backup, Mike White. And Mike White actually played quite well against the Bengals. So let's start with you, Jake. What does this tell you about the Jets here now that they had it was a close game, but it was a relatively convincing win without their starting quarterback that's supposed to be like the savior of the team.
Yeah, Mike White, he played a great game. I think statistically, it's the best season debut of any NFL quarterback ever. I mean, the guy was 37 of 45, first of all. He did 405 yards. The last guy to do that was Cam Newton like 10 years ago. He had 3 touchdowns, had the 2 picks, but he played a great game. He beat a team, the Bengals defense, that was, had been playing pretty well. They've looked like a playoff team so far, Cincinnati. They're still 5-3. He played great. It's weird because, you have Zach Wilson, who obviously is more talented than Zach White and has a much higher ceiling than Zach White. He goes out there and he looks for the most part, looked terrible. And Mike White goes out there with, he was on his 3rd string left tackle by the 3rd quarter. Jameson Crowder's #1 wide receiver. They don't run the football. They just don't. Going into the game, the play calling was terrible. Rookie head coach, they're a 1-5 football team against a playoff caliber team, it looks like, and he goes out there and plays great and wins the game. They were down 11 points in the 4th quarter and they came back. So very, very good sign. Step in the right direction. I thought a lot of it was Mike LaFleur, I thought has done a terrible job as the offensive coordinator. I thought he called a much better game. I did. I'm not sure if he realized, all right, I got to start playing to my guy's strengths. And, maybe Mike White's a little bit of a different quarterback. Mike White didn't push the ball down the field that much. but he made the throws. He made the throws when he needed to. He didn't. The line held up enough, I guess. Bengals pass rush isn't anything extraordinary, and I thought the play call was a little bit better. It was much more simple. I thought it's been a little bit too complex, which is called, I think it was a tiny bit. It's called Zach Wilson just try to make the super, super long throw into triple coverage, which of course never works. So I thought that was an encouraging sign. And Mike White, he balled out. He balled out.
Yeah, I mean, he he did very well. I mean, nobody expected that. I expected them to honestly get shut out by the Bengals, who have been surprisingly, in my opinion at least, surprisingly competitive and flat out good. They crushed the Ravens the week before this. So, and their defense has been strong. So to see Mike White go out there and do that, I mean, I think it's credit to Matt LaFleur or Mike LaFleur. Sorry, I'm still confused about those brothers. But Mike LaFleur, I think credit goes to him. But also, why hasn't he treated Zach Wilson the same way? It seems like he's let Zach Wilson go out there and figure it out himself. Like he's going to pull off the same plays that he did at BYU when he was playing teams that had no talent on defense, and now he's in the NFL. He can't do the same thing. You have to treat him more like, not shelter him, but you have to treat him like a rookie quarterback. And he's failed to do that so far. And Zach Wilson has struggled because of it. He's shown his flashes, but he's more than not, he's struggled a lot. And then you go out there with Mike White and you show that you have the play calling, you have the ability to make a quarterback that may not be that good. Because even after one game, I'm not confident that Mike White is going to be a star in the NFL. I mean, Matt Flynn did a similar thing and he didn't pan out. But you show that you have the tools to make a quarterback good, but you haven't treated Zach Wilson like a rookie. You've treated him like a guy that needs to just go out there that's been in the NFL and experience these things when he hasn't. So I think it's more a testament to Mike LaFleur than anything else. I mean, credit to Mike White, but it's really Mike LaFleur.
Yeah, it was a really, really good game. Like I said, really convincing win. Go Jets. So, let's move back over to the West Side here, to where usually on this podcast this season, I've been talking about NBA people doing stupid things like John Gruden with the emails and Urban Meyer with the cheating on his wife, and but this one is more serious. Henry Ruggs, the wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, was released and I believe arrested for killing somebody in a car accident, to where he was going 156 miles per hour, driving I believe double over the blood alcohol volume you should be for legal to drive. So really, this is horrendous. It really is horrendous. And I could go into this whole joking mantra, say, oh, he's on my fantasy team, so now my team's gonna suck now. But no, it's much bigger than that. He took somebody's life over because he made a choice to drink in a car, to get drunk and drive. And I mean, it really is a shame, because he was having a great career. He was having a great season, I should say. He was looking like a Pro Bowler. And then not only does he just ruin his reputation with this, he tarnished his career and he ruined his life. So I want to hand it over to you guys, after my little rant there. What do you guys think about this?
There isn't much to be said that hasn't already been said by you and by everybody in the media. I mean, it's a terrible situation overall. It's terrible, especially for the woman who lost her life. And it's just incredibly sad, obviously. Everybody knows that. Everybody has said that. I think there's a few, it's not a positive situation, but what Derek Carr said was really good when he said, Ruggs needs to be loved. If nobody's going to do that, I will. I mean, he made a terrible decision. It's obvious. I mean, you're a millionaire. You have Uber. I believe the NFL offers a free service to athletes, so they don't even need to go to Uber. But there's so many other options, and it was a terrible decision. Jay Williams spoke on it, talked about how it was inexcusable, but there is this this narrative with athletes where they feel like they're invincible, and Jay Williams himself experienced that. It's a really sad thing, and this is just the most recent example of that, and it's somebody had to lose their life for it, and just terrible decisions. Yeah, he lost his life, he lost his career, and he lost really his life, and he's going to go through a lot in order to get back to even close to where he was. And of course, you know, thoughts, everything to that family that actually lost their life, because that's even worse, and it's just terribly tragic.
Yeah, it's just a terrible situation. The Rays will have themselves a really long year. You had their head coach, come out. There were emails were leaked that were misogynist, and they're anti-gay, and he had some racist comments, and it was absolutely terrible. I thought it was even worse that it took them 10 years to find these emails, which I thought was even worse. This guy went from being a head coach to being an announcer, back to being a head coach, and on a huge contract on his second stint as a head coach. And now you have, probably their best wide receiver, first round pick only 1 year ago, now was caught driving 156 miles per hour. Think about that, 156. Some cars don't even go that fast. While drunk, like you said, Justin, twice over the legal BIC, hit somebody, killed them. Absolutely horrible, by the way. My condolences to that person's family. He had a loaded gun in the car. That's not even the most important thing. I don't even know. I don't know what the laws are in Vegas with that. I'm not sure if he was doing it for security purposes. That's not even the issue here. Terrible situation. He's definitely gonna looks like spend some time in jail. It looks like that's going to be what's going to happen. Terrible situation. Another fact, when he was in high school, he was driving drunk. His best friend was in the car. He got into a crash, and his best friend died. So it's the second time this guy's done this. You think he would learn, and just, I don't know what else to say. It's absolutely terrible. And the fact that it's happened before, it's like, come on, dude. You got to call Uber, a Lyft. You got to, call your friend. If you know someone that you're with that was not drinking, get in the car with them. That's just shows that you have options, and the life is short, and you have to perish it. Just a terrible situation.
My condolences to that family as well, who lost their daughter to such a horrendous action. Anyway, let's move over to something more lighthearted. Corey, I got a question for you, buddy. Talk to me, man. The Miami Dolphins are 1-7. Last year, you picked up Tua. You guys thought he's gonna be really, really big for this team. You guys were the number one defense, or like one of the top defensive in the league. The Miami Dolphins are now 1-7. So Corey, as the Dolphins aficionado as you are, what the hell is wrong with the Miami Dolphins?
Oh man. Everything, it's hard to explain and easy to explain at the same time. I mean, they've built this team so poorly, and they've made so many weird decisions over the course of the last few years. Chris Greer is a master at trading. That Laramie Tunsil trade was genius, but the picks that have come from it have not panned out, and that's really the issue, is that the talent development, especially on the offensive line, has not been there. Austin Jackson, first round pick, Robert Hunt, hasn't been terrible, isn't being used where he should be, though, in my opinion. I think he should be at right tackle because Jesse Davis is atrocious. Man, that man is a captain of this team, and he is awful. He's the reason Tua got hurt in the first place. Just letting was it Jerry Hughes? I don't exactly even remember. I try to block that from my memory. I'm just letting him run straight by him and drill Tua in the ribs. And he's still starting at right tackle. He had I believe a 29 PFF grade last week. That's probably the lowest I've ever seen. And he's starting at right tackle. I believe Solomon Kinley, who was a solid guard last year, not great, but he should be in the right guard position. And Robert Hunt should move over to right tackle. But that's just a small issue. Cutting Kyle Van Noy, don't really understand that one. I think he had a bigger impact than the stats will show. I think he was a great leader for that defense and a huge reason that they were one of the top defenses in the league last year. It's just a lot of questionable decisions. And not even to mention the worst of it all is just showing no confidence in your rookie quarterback. Benching Tua last year at the end of games was not smart. And now it led to one victory, which was really a Myles Gaskin victory because he had the entire run after the catch in that Raiders game. Sure, still didn't make the playoffs. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Flat out, it doesn't matter. And you showed that there's question marks around Tua. And then this year, the Deshaun Watson rumors, which are just so dumb to trade for a guy with those allegations, to even think about it right now. And at the same time, lose all confidence, show that you have minimal confidence in Tua. When he's gone out there and he's given it his all, you actually watch the Dolphins play. He gives it his all. He shows his heart. He led them back. He made some mistakes. He knows that. He led them back against the Falcons, 2 touchdowns in the last 7 minutes to take the lead. Guess what ruins it? The defense. The defense gives up a last-second field goal. Brian Flores, this defensive mastermind, can't scheme against Matt Ryan and the Falcons, who haven't been good in a few years. And no disrespect to Matt Ryan, he's great. He's been great. But there's a scheme to beat that. The scheme is gone. And the worst problem is Stephen Ross. This franchise has been a joke under him. And now we're letting him take control of the next moves. We're letting him meet with Deshaun Watson. We're letting him and his desire to get Deshaun Watson for some reason, as if Deshaun Watson didn't go 4-12 last year and prove that he can't carry a team on his own. And yes, he's a superstar, but also he has 22 allegations against him and is being investigated by the FBI. So to let Stephen Ross, who has tanked this team for years, have the decision, such a huge decision over the 2 guys that have actually successfully rebuilt the team, or actually looked like they were successfully rebuilding the team, it's just foolish. And I don't know what the answer is from here. I know that trading Tua for Deshaun Watson is not the answer because this team is not built to win. Because if they were, they would have won with Tua because he has shown that he is not the problem. And he showed that he could win last year. So I don't know what the answer is in terms of Brian Flores and Chris Grier, but I know that Stephen Ross is not the answer, and trading for Deshaun Watson is not the answer at the current state of this team.
Yeah, the Dolphins, they've been absolutely egregious this year. I don't know what to say about Tua. You had the one game against Jacksonville, he throws an interception. Like, there was not a Dolphins player in the camera.
But that picture, if you look at the play, it was a yard too low, and then it would be perfectly placed over the defender. The receiver was coming back to the ball. It was a bad pass. It was a bad, maybe not the best decision, and it was just not the best placement. But he's made mistakes. But then that game, he brought them back. He every single drive after the interceptions that he's had, I believe it's like 2 touchdowns, like 90 something QBR. He's not the issue. He's still, he still hasn't even played a full 16 games.
Yeah, he's still very young. The decision to take him over Justin Herbert was absolutely egregious. Justin Herbert is a superstar, and they took a guy who's probably going to have a bionic hip in about 10 years, and because he played for Alabama, who hasn't even had a good quarterback since Joe Namath anyway, over Justin Herbert, which is absolutely terrible, just terrible. The offensive line, like you said, the offensive line's horrible. The defense is horrible. I've lost all confidence in Brian Flores. He's a typical Belichick disciple. He's a fraud. Any defensive coach under Belichick looks good because Belichick's a defensive genius. People are calling Joe Judge a genius after he went 6-10, and now he's a complete joke. And Brian Flores, he won 5 games his first year. 5. They thought they were going to win 0, but still, he won 5 games. People are saying he's a great coach. Last year, again, they won a lot more than they expected, but still couldn't get in the playoffs in the first year of an expanded playoff field. What do you say for him now? The guy's 1-7. People thought they were going to go to the playoffs here, and they are 1-7. And the GM, Chris Greer, like you said, like the Laramie Tunsil trade was genius. Trade to get Minka Fitzpatrick was a good trade too. They have a first-round pick, but he's been the next. That's the way around. That wasn't a good trade, but the trade to get from Tunsil was genius. But like you said, Corey, the picks just haven't worked out. Right now, I think he gets another year. I think he should at least. But
I agree. And
we'll see.
Sorry, Jake. Just one more thing to add.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention, but the play calling, and it's partly because the offensive line can't stop somebody from getting to Tua in 3 seconds or less. They pretty much physically can't for some reason. So the play calling, everybody's running either slants or drags or their comebacks, and it's like 5 yards. Jalen Waddle broke the record for least receiving yards with like 12 receptions a few weeks ago. It was like 12 receptions, 54 yards or something like that. And this is a guy that's one of the most elusive and quickest receivers in the college last year. And he's being used like that. And part of it's the offensive line, but it's just atrocious play calling. And I don't know what Justin Herbert would do within that offense. I think he's shown that he's been better for sure. I won't argue that. I think Tua would look much better in the Chargers offense, and Herbert would look much worse in the Dolphins offense. I'm not saying he would completely flip, but the offense, it's just the play calling, receivers constantly being hurt, and the offensive line is just not helping either. And for those reasons, there's no reason to move on from Tua. It's not his fault that these things are happening, and to think that some other quarterback's going to come in and magically fix the team. Sure, Watson, maybe he wins a few more games because he doesn't make, young quarterback mistakes. He can avoid pressure a little bit better. He's quicker, but he's not going to take this 1-7 team to 7-1. Like, he's not going to even take them to the playoffs right now. The defense has taken a major step back. But yeah, I'll let you guys talk about the Dolphins because I could probably go on and on.
All right. I get what you guys are saying. However, let me tell you why partially this is Tua's fault. And it's because there's a reason why he hasn't played 16 games. It's because he's prone to injuries, but he's always been prone to injuries, just like he was in Alabama. This man cannot stay healthy. And I gotta say one more thing. If the Dolphins didn't have Mike Gesicki, you'd be 0-8. The Dolphins would be 0-8.
If they didn't have Xavier Howard, they'd be 0-8 because Xavier Howard is the reason we beat the Patriots.
True. That is true.
Yes.
However, Mike Gesicki needs to get the hell off that team and go to a better spot.
No.
Get him out. Get him out. He doesn't belong there. He's a carry for that team.
No,
he
is.
He's really.
He's still being overlooked by the league. He's really talented, and they need to extend him this year.
He's probably one of the most underrated tight ends in the league right now, if not the most underrated tight end.
Definitely, he's really good. But Tua's not injury prone. It's so.
Yes, he is.
It's the NFL. It's football.
He had injuries in high school too.
He had injuries in high school and college.
If you took a shot to the ribs like he did, you'd be out more than 3 games.
Okay, but what about college and high school?
He got a nearly career-ending hip injury and was ready for week 1 of the NFL season. He just didn't start over Fitzpatrick. That hip injury was completely fluke. These things happen in football. And the rib injury, the right tackle let a guy run.
No. The rib injury, I will give the rib injury. I'll let it slide. All I'm thinking is, why would you draft a player who has had a record of injuries since high school? I just think the pick is stupid.
Joe Burrow. What did he do? Did he tear his ACL? I can't even remember at this point. He tore his ACL last year. Does that make him injury prone? No, it makes it football. It's football.
But he hasn't. But the difference is he hasn't had a massive injury like Tua has.
I just think injury-prone narratives are dumb in a sport where injuries can happen at literally any given moment. I mean, I don't. Brandon Cooks, you could say he was concussion-prone years ago. Now he hasn't missed a game in I don't know how long. Keenan Allen missed many games in his first 2 years. I don't know the last time he actually missed a game. I mean, I get the point you're making. I know it's a narrative, but I just disagree that injuries they happen out of fluke a lot of the time. Somebody like Todd Gurley, where his knees are legitimately bad, sure, you could say he's injury prone because of a condition. And I don't have to get into Todd Gurley, but I do wish he had another shot. I feel bad for him.
Okay. You know what? You actually do make a very, very fair point there. And I guess the only reason why I'm not completely sold on Tua is because Tua just hasn't played a lot of games, and maybe it is because he's
and I completely understand that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it is because he's gotten injured a lot, and you're right. A lot of it does have to do with his garbage O line.
Yeah.
However, if I'm assuming that the Dolphins at this point halfway through the season are going to start tanking. And if they get a really good set of offensive linemen and he still underperforms, I think they need to start considering a new quarterback. And by the way, if they trade for Deshaun Watson, that will be the worst PR move in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
It really will.
Yeah. Terrible.
It really will. And then it'll just
go.
make the Dolphins GM more stupid than he already is.
I guarantee that if they do that, Tua shows what he's capable of on the next team. Yeah. I mean, it's just bound to happen. But I mean, they're not doing it this year. Tua has the reins to the team for the remaining 7 games of the season. And they can't really tank because they don't even have their own draft pick. So we don't have to get into that. That's the worst part. Every loss in previous years, it'd be like, okay, better draft pick. It stinks, but okay. Now there's not even that. There's no like silver lining, no hope. It's just there's no point in losing at all, and they're still losing. And when you win 10 games last year, when you had your draft pick, you win 1 this year. It's like,
yeah. All right. So now we went to Florida. Now we're gonna take it to the state north of it, to Georgia. The Atlanta Braves have beat the Houston Astros in 6. Let's just start off with Jake. Talk to me, man. What do we think?
Okay, as a Met fan, I'm obviously not a fan of the Braves, but what they did in the second half of the season was incredible. This team at the trade deadline was 51-54. They were 3 games below 500. And the GM of the Braves, I think his name is Alex Anthopoulos. Kudos to him. He should be executive of the year. I'm not sure if they give that out. But, he went and he goes and got Adam Duvall, who had a great year. He brought him back. He's a guy who was on the Braves a couple of years ago. He went in and got Jorge Soler, who completely turned his season around. Yeah, he was World Series MVP. We got Eddie Rosario, who had the record for most hits in the playoff series in the pennant. He bolstered the bullpen. The rotation got healthy, and they just completely turned their season around. Yes, they only had 88 wins, which shouldn't win a division, and still 88 wins in the World Series is crazy. But they actually were, in the second half, were actually a top 5 team in the league. Look at their record after the trade deadline. It was like probably top 2 or 3 in the National League. So, probably up there on Giants and Dodgers, but definitely they are, I would say, a top 5 team in baseball after the trade deadline. So, they recreated their team at the deadline, did what they need to do. Kudos to the GM. Kudos to the coaching. Brian Snicker, the manager there, he's done a great job. And they got hot, and they took it all the way. Good for them.
Yeah, your division mate. Unfortunately, in any other division they wouldn't have won it, and in only one other division they would have been second. But I'm not trying to discount what they did. They had an incredible second half of the season and an incredible run in the playoffs. Everybody in America was rooting for them except the people that live in Houston. And they didn't let them down. They didn't let people down, and that's the most important thing. I will say, I feel, it's great for Ronald Acuna, but I feel a little bad for him. He deserved to be out there with his team because he, no doubt, would have made them even better. And, it must stink watching your team from the sideline, even when your team wins, knowing you could be out there contributing, because he's Freddie Freeman's probably the best player on that team, but he could be the best player on that team, if not the second best player on that team. And to have to watch it from his team win a World Series from the sideline, it's got to be bittersweet. And I do feel a little bit bad for him. But, kudos to the Braves. Congrats to them. They deserved it, even if two teams out of the playoffs had a worse record or a better record. They deserved it. They did what they had to do to get there, and you don't just run through the MLB playoffs by fluke. So good for them.
Yeah, it's definitely great to see the Braves win for two reasons. Number one, I didn't want the Houston to win, even though, yes, Dusty Baker does deserve a ring because he is a very respected manager. That team has a cheating thing. I'm not saying Dusty Baker was involved. Obviously, he wasn't, and I don't agree with him. I didn't agree with him getting flack for it like he did earlier in the season. But that team has had a history of cheating. I don't think they deserve to get to the World Series, and I'm glad they lost to Atlanta. And the other thing is, the other thing is this. I said last episode that the reason why I want Atlanta to win is because so then they could break the stigma that all Atlanta teams choke games, which clearly is not true. It's not any other Atlanta team. It's just Matt Ryan. Moving on. Moving on. We're gonna move it now. We're actually gonna take it back to Miami. By the way, because we love
handle anymore.
Because we love to go back to Florida here. This is more positive things about Miami, Corey. The Miami Heat are currently the number one seed in the Eastern Conference right now at 6-1. And according to ESPN, they are number one in offensive points, number one in defense with only allowing 98 points per game, 90.9 points per game to be exact. Number one in rebounds, number one in points differential. So Corey, let's start with you here. Do you think at the beginning, at the start, like in the off season, maybe the Miami Heat were a little bit underestimated? Do you think, looking at this team right now, do you think they could make a really, really deep playoff run like they did back in 2020 in the bubble?
I've believed in the Heat since the bubble. I actually picked them to beat the Bucks in the second round. I didn't have them beating the Celtics, who, for those of you that don't know, I am not a Heat fan. Like I'm a Dolphins fan. I am a Celtics fan. That's kind of unfortunate right now. I kind of wish I was a Heat fan, but
Bing bong.
But Jimmy Butler is a big reason for their success. I think he's a great leader. He's proven that since Philadelphia and since Minnesota. He's proven that he's not the problem. He was right about Minnesota. He was right about Philadelphia. It's so funny to see that now, because now he's having fun. He's having incredible success, and he's one of the most valuable players in the league. Maybe not the best, but in terms of value and what he adds to his team defensively, offensively, and leadership-wise, he's one of the most valuable teams. So, yeah, I think that team, that's what succeeds in the NBA. It's not it's the super teams, but it's not the one or two superstar teams. It's not the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown-led Celtics, I can tell you that much. It's the teams that are built well, coached well, play hard, and have really good leaders. So you have, Jimmy Butler, now you have Kyle Lowry. You have Eric Spoelstra, who's a veteran coach who has had success and proven that his success isn't just because of LeBron. And you have young talent in Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, those guys. That's a team that's built for success. Coming from a Celtics fan, I'll even use Isaiah Thomas led a Celtics team to the Eastern Conference Final. That wasn't only on Isaiah. He had a great year, but that's not the key to success on that team. That team was built well and coached well by Brad Stevens, who notoriously can get talent out of people that aren't necessarily talented, but apparently can't do the same thing with talented players. So, that team had Jay Crowder, Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and they played their hearts out. That's what the Heat do every year, because Jimmy Butler doesn't accept anything less. And that's what teams that have the talent but don't succeed don't do. That's what the Celtics do. So I think those teams are pretty much polar opposites. I wouldn't say the Heat aren't talented, because I think the Heat have more talent all around than the Celtics, but they use that talent so much better. And that's why they're 6-1. The Celtics are 3-5, I believe. I have kind of avoided them this season because it's just painful to watch. Honestly, painful to watch that offense, and just sad to see what happened to the team that years ago could succeed with Isaiah Thomas and Avery Bradley leading the way.
Yeah, the Heat have looked really good. Yeah, Justin and I, our first episode of the season, we picked them, I believe, to finish third in the Eastern Conference. They are definitely a premier team. Or like you said, Jimmy Butler, when it comes to him being a leader, the only places that he didn't look like a good leader were places that, he made comments about, about the team that, were critical. But like you said, he was right. Minnesota was a joke. He came out and said, Towns, Wiggins, you guys got to step up. You guys aren't playing any defense.
Still are a joke.
You're right. It's still,
and it's like that's
even
actually
worse.
I should have used that example. That's a team that had a ton of talent but didn't succeed. It's coaching. It's culture.
Yeah, and like in Philly, he said like, oh, well, I don't really like Embiid's way of leading. I don't think Ben Simmons is good. Yeah, he was right about Ben Simmons for sure, and I don't think Embiid's leadership is anything special either. I think he's tiny bit of the problem. A lot of it's Simmons, because Simmons does not know basketball. But I think Embiid's not a great leader either. He was right, and he demands perfection. And look where it's gotten him in Miami. Got him to the finals. They made the playoffs last year, and this year they look like you said, Corey, they're positioned to probably have a deep playoff run. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo's an all-star player. Kyle Lowry's still a great scorer. Duncan Robinson's a great shooter. Tyler Hero looked like he might win sixth man of the year. Alex Spoelstra's a great coach, like you said. That team is built really well right now, and this team could, I think, might be able to come out of the Eastern Conference. They look really, really good right now.
Yeah. This is going to be a really hot take. But if you stop the season right now, I say Bam wins Defensive Player of the Year. Tyler Hero wins Sixth Man of the Year. And I think Jimmy Butler wins MVP. I'm telling you. Jimmy Butler in particular, so far what we've seen, is not only dominant on the offense, he is an excellent defender. And I mean he was excellent last year. He was the leader in steals, but this year just seems like he's doing so much more on that defensive end. Which you love to see. He's kind of more of an all-around player. He's not he's not necessarily going to be your guy who's like the number one scoring leader in the league, but he is definitely going to rack up the points, going to average 20 something points a game, maybe not 30 like Harden did in his MVP season, but you guys get what I mean. He's just playing really, really well, but like you guys said, all of them are playing like a coordinated team. Duncan Robinson has had a bit of a slow start, but I know that that'll pick it up and gain some and go back to, just shooting the lights out of nowhere. Tyler Hero, I think, had a glow up from last year. Last year he was okay. I didn't think he was good, but I didn't think he was bad either. But this year he's looking great. He's looking fantastic. And then Bam, what more do I got to say about this guy? The Jimmy Butler Bam combo is like a dynamic duo at this point. And Bam Adebayo knows such a good center, such a great defensive player. And I do think that they're going to make it to the finals again, if the Nets still play like garbage, because they beat the Nets, they beat the Bucks, and if they could do that again, all throughout the season, I definitely think they're gonna come alive in the finals and really shock us, because originally everybody thought it was Lakers and Nets going into the finals, but now it's not looking like that so much anymore. I do think that the Heat can do it, and I'm not sure about the West, because the West is all over the place and anything can happen in the West. But it's really good to see the Heat, kind of come out there and look like a dark horse like they were in the bubble in 2020. All right. Now, still on NBA, Jake, you talked about our power rankings real quick. So we haven't changed those since the first episode. We got to make a little changes, don't we?
We do. I'm going to pull them up right now. And here they are. Okay, so we got okay. So all right, right off the bat, Brooklyn and Lakers at Nets and Lakers at 2 and 3. They're gonna be lowered. I'm just gonna put Miami here. Just fix this for a minute. Okay, let's put it like this for now. That will change in a minute. Let's do the top 5. Justin, who do you think are the best 5 teams right now?
The best 5 teams in the league right now, in particular order, is Heat, Jazz, Warriors, and then Bulls and Knicks.
I like it. All right, so that's nothing. The Chicago Bulls have looked really, really good. That is a basketball team. They made a lot of changes this off season. They look really good. And the Knicks, they're a basketball team, man. They're a basketball team for sure. This team, they've lost the last 2 games, but all I gotta say is, bing bong, go Knicks. Oh, nope.
Hey, don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? The freaking video of the Knicks fans just going nuts, and all of a sudden they just rip into De Blasio and Momo, and they start saying F Trae Young when they just shit on Jason Tatum. It's like wrong state, guys.
Just fix this up. So, okay. All right. So we got the top 5 now in the Heat, Jazz, Warriors, Bulls, and Knicks so far. All right. All right. Let's start with this. Let's get Corey in here. Corey, is there a team that besides the Celtics, we talked about how they've struggled? Is there another team that you think has been really disappointing so far?
It's hard to say. It's early, but the Bucks haven't been 4-4 in a few years, and they just came off a championship. It's probably, they always talk about the post-championship slump. Usually they're at the top of the Eastern Conference, and I'm not. So I think they'll be there in a matter of weeks, because usually Giannis just wins a ton in the regular season, and last year he proved he could win in the postseason too, obviously. But they've been a little disappointing so far. Obviously the Celtics.
That's because they're throwing in Thanasis, by the way. I'm just gonna put it right out there. It's the nepotism coming in with that team. He sucks, Thanasis. I'm sorry to say. I know that's a strong term. He is bad.
Honestly, I'm a little surprised at the Pacers, because they're similar to the Heat, just on a lower tier. They've been known to play hard, be a deep team, and they're not winning as much as they would normally. Last year they weren't great. I honestly can't remember if they made the playoffs, what they did in the playoffs, but that team is not starting well, and they usually are able to win some games on pure heart and pure chemistry and good coaching. And go back to last year, Nate McMillan was fired for who knows why, and then he led the Hawks to the Eastern Conference Championship. It's like, that might be why, because a team like that needs great coaching, and they've missed McMillan, I think.
Yeah, and also the coach they had last year, Bjork, was an absolute disaster. The team hated him. The front office hated him. TJ Warren decided, I'm going to have surgery now instead of the offseason. So I don't have to play for this dude. One of the assistant coaches almost punched him in the face. It was a crapshoot in Indiana last year. But you're right, Corey. This team really is ever since Reggie Miller and maybe Paul George when he was really, really young. They don't usually they're not a big market team. They're a lower market team. They don't really have a superstar. Like you said, they're a team like Miami. They might have 1, 2 great players, and then a lot of good players. And it seems like they do have that. Malcolm Brogdon, Jeremy Lamb, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner. They got a really good team. But, even with, a much better coach in Rick Carlisle, the guy who knows the organization, he used to coach before when he was in Dallas, they haven't looked great.
You know what we got to do, Jake? Can you drop down to the bottom for me, like kind of like to like the bottom 10? All right, we got to make a few changes. Can you scroll up a bit more? Can you scroll up a bit more? I think we need to move the Kings up. I think I was really stupid for putting them at 20th. Because
you were right. They've looked pretty.
They've looked phenomenal. They really have. And I thought this team was going to be really bad because like Tristan Thompson, and they just don't have a lot of amazing players. However, Buddy Hield's looking good. De'Aaron Fox is looking really good. Even like Rashawn Holmes, Harrison Barnes, they're looking good. But the real superstar of this team, who I think so far is the front runner for Rookie of the Year, is Davion Off-Night Mitchell. His defense in Baylor was good, but he has transitioned so well into the NBA, unlike some of these rookies that don't do it as much. And he is just he's been a star for this team, especially on that defensive end. And he can score as well. He's to me, Davion Mitchell is what Draymond wants to be. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I definitely think they deserve to be higher. Can we scroll down to the bottom again?
I just gotta say, Off Night is one of the best nicknames ever.
It is.
It's
Definitely.
It is a really cool name. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I think we need to move the Rockets to 26th. I think even though their record doesn't say it, I think they've actually looked pretty good. I think Jalen Green's added something to this team.
He is a great player.
Yeah, he is a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he my favorite for Rookie of the Year? No. However, I do think he is a candidate. He is a good candidate for it.
So far, he's the favorite, just because Cade hasn't played.
I guess, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is true. But I think they still have some good players. I mean, I don't think it's enough to get them to playoffs, but they still have Christian Wood. Kevin Porter Jr. is good. Jashawn Tate is good. I don't like you said, I don't think they make plans, or have a really amazing record. But if they go maybe a little bit under 500, it wouldn't surprise me because like I said, Jalen Green just brought something to this team that they haven't had. That they hadn't had what feels like forever, even though Harden left early last season, because he is a great shooter. That guy, it seems like he can shoot from anywhere, really. So that's why I don't think I gave the Rockets enough credit with Jalen Green. I thought they were kind of screwed either way, but it looks like they're gonna be all right because I feel like they're going for a rebuild, and I think this is a start, especially with Jalen Green.
Jalen Green makes me laugh just because he had a huge chip on his shoulder for going second overall. Like, chill out, dude. It's like Cade was known he was going to be first overall for a while, but yeah, he's been phenomenal. Unfortunately, they're still 1-6, so they still have struggled to win games just based on the fact that they don't have the talent. Jalen Green isn't enough to carry the team, but he's been phenomenal. Kevin Porter Jr., that's a good core, and I'm surprised there's one team there that you didn't mention. I'm surprised you didn't ask to move the Cavs up because they've been surprisingly good, even without Colin Sexton playing his best. But, yeah. I won't go too in depth there, but they've been better than I expected, better than a lot of people expected. They've proven, at least so far, they're not the worst team. They're not one of the worst teams in the league. So it's better than, than they expected, because they could have been easily one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, actually, you do make a phenomenal point there, Jake. Do me a favor, please, and flip the Pelicans with the Cavs. I have zero faith in the Pelicans. I really don't, and I like the Pelicans too. I like the Pelicans when they had Anthony Davis starting on. They had Boogie Cousins, and I believe Julius Randle was on that team at one point as well. JJ Redick was there. It's like they were a relatively enjoyable team to watch, even though they weren't a fantastic team. But now everybody's talking about, Zion's going to help this team. He's not. And the other thing is he's now 300 plus pounds, and you know, and the problem is that when you're playing basketball and you're like 21, 22 years old, you got to be in shape. You have to be in shape. I mean, I'm not one to talk, but then again, I'm not a professional basketball player. I'm a professional esports player who's playoff bound, unlike him. Speaking of, yeah, but you know, it really is a shame to see the Pelicans, you know, doing so poorly, and that moves us on to our next section. You hate to see it.
All right. I got some content first. Or let's take an X out of this. Let's start with. Oh, all right. So the Miami Dolphins, they're pretty dead.
Stop it.
They're pretty dead. So
I didn't know this was coming.
they're in the
It's
red
not a good
zone.
day for you, Corey.
I apologize, but this was actually really funny. So hopefully the cloudy kind of clears up here. So, all right, Megasicki is a great player, but he's right here, number 88 in the teal.
Just look at his. He's the leader of this team. He is yelling at Waddle.
He's yelling at Waddle. Yeah, Jalen doesn't even know where to go. He's like, dude, get your butt over here. He's going in motion, and for some reason, the center snaps the ball while he's running in front of the quarterback, and the ball hits him. And now this kid's looking down, and he's like, why did you snap the ball? Like, he probably didn't even want to recover. He's like, I'm so ashamed by this team. I'm not even going to try to recover this. And then, you know, he tries, and then I think the Bills end up with it. Corey, how much do you, how on a scale, how we do on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate to see it?
A 10. I don't think you realize how mad this made me during Sunday. This was, look at the time, look at the score. You just zoom in on that again. It's 3-3 at the end of the first half. What you don't know is we're getting the ball to start the second half for the first time in weeks because we finally won a coin toss. We could easily, and we're in the red zone. We could easily score a touchdown, go up 10-3 and have the ball, or at least get a field goal and take the lead against the Bills. And if you go back to the beginning of the play, he's telling Waddle to stop. Waddle isn't supposed to be coming to that side of the field. He is telling him stop, and he's yelling at him.
Yep, right there. Look, right there. He's coming, and you got the hand up.
So I don't know if he is going in motion to cover Waddle's route because he's not on the right side of the field. And Tua did not call for the snap. So this is just Gesicki being a great leader, and he's literally yelling at him to stop. And nobody calls for the snap here. And they snap it into him as he's going to cover Waddle's spot. The game is over at this point because it's the Dolphins. You know they're not going to recover from something like that. Later in the game, the same thing happened. Gesicki was yelling at, I don't know if it was Waddle this time, somebody to stop going in motion. And he is literally jumping up and down. And they snap the ball. He gets an illegal motion because he's not even in position because he's yelling at somebody. Gesicki knows what he's doing. Listen to him, please. He's got to be like the smartest guy on this offense. He's the best probably player on this offense. He's just, I feel so bad for him. It was terrible. Just a terrible play.
All right, so 1 + 7 = 8. One win, 7 losses. That equals 8 games. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Pretty much hate to see it, but this just kind of shows the Dolphins season in a nutshell. Corey, I'm so sorry for your team, dude. I mean, now on the bright side, now you know how it feels to be a Jet fan.
True. Well, I mean, it's not like the Dolphins have been much better over the last 20 years.
Yeah, that's
3-3 at the end of the
Jet
first
fan
half, and that happens.
You can't see have faith for the team only for that only for them to pull away your hopes and dreams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so 8 out of 10. I hate to see it.
10 out of 10. All right. Whoever snapped the ball where Tua called for the center, just if Tua didn't call for it, the center, why are you snapping the ball? The quarterback tends to snap it.
There was just
if he
clearly
didn't call
so
for the
much
snap,
confusion.
why are you snapping the football?
And
like you can't tell that Mike Gesicki's like 2 feet behind your backside. Like, come on, man. 10 out of 10. What are you doing? It looked like Pee Wee football out there. Anyway, next clip. This is a hockey one. This was something I have never seen before. So, Seattle Kraken, the NHL's newest team, playing the Edmonton Oilers. So we got a video. Keep your eye at the top left corner over here, right to the left of the goal. We got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins of the Oilers and Vince Dunn of the Kraken. They're battling in front of the net. And look at these two. They are stuck together. They are stuck. Their skates got tangled. Look at this. Look at that. How much do you guys hate to see that?
I kind of love to see it. It's funny. I mean, I've seen that in football. I don't know if I've ever seen it in hockey. It's pretty funny. So I'll give it, I guess it stinks for the players, but I'll give it a 2 out of 10. Kind of like to see it. It's funny. It's entertaining. I mean, hockey's entertaining more so than baseball. I'll say that. I just got to throw a shot out there at baseball, but it adds even more entertainment other than fights. This is a new element. Maybe they'll start doing this more.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Corey here. I mean, that's pretty enjoyable to see. I'll probably give it, a 1 out of 10 for the amount of points the Kraken has at this time. So 1 out of 10. Honestly, I love to see it. Yeah, it's really funny. Nobody got hurt, which is good. But yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a 1 out of 10 for me too. That was hilarious. I don't know how they pulled that off. These guys are playing the professional sport. They gotta laugh sometimes. Seattle's going to probably go through some tough times here being a new team. Probably won't win that many games. Probably won't, sniff the playoffs. That was pretty funny. 1 out of 10 as well. That was hilarious. Next clip is
crack myself up on that one.
Nice Jim Rome impression. Okay, Odell Beckham Jr. He finds a way to get into the news. Oops, I don't want that. His father posted a 11-minute video of Baker Mayfield not throwing him the ball, and now he's being exiled from the team. OBJ just finds a way to get negative attention and bring negative PR. He does this all the time, every single year. How much do you guys hate to see that?
Oh, I got to give it a 10 out of 10 by far, because I mean, at this point, I know that OBJ always gets into trouble, but this time it was his dad, dude. It's like don't be that guy and complain on Instagram Live about, stop having a male Karen moment about your mediocre son not getting the ball thrown to him, because he's not as good as he used to be. He's past his prime. If you ask me, he's kind of a one catch wonder, because he had that amazing pass against the Giants, nonetheless, absolutely phenomenal, out of this world. But then, after that, his career just went downhill. And yes, he's always found a way to get himself into trouble, but this time it's his dad getting him into trouble, which I actually feel bad for Odell for, because for once, maybe he's actually trying. He's like, just this one time, I'm not gonna screw myself over. And then his dad just steps in, and he's like, not on my watch. 10 out of 10. I hate to say it.
I also hate to see it. Just to clarify, Odell is not a one-catch wonder. He had some great years in New York, and he's I mean, look at his stats. He had just that those speak for themselves. But I guess I'll have to go a 13 out of 10 for Odell's number. I see a theme that Justin likes to point out things in the video, so I'll give it a 13 to 10. 13 out of 10 because this is just terrible. I mean, it's probably not that bad, but it's still like a 9 out of 10 because I like Odell. I think he's gotten a lot of hate from the media for, not things that shouldn't be as big of a deal, showing passion and emotion on the sideline with the Giants. He hasn't really had a problem since then until now, and this is his dad. This is his dad's doing. You got to be smarter than that. You don't mess with your son's career. You don't step in like that. You just don't. And it's a problem. It's a problem on all levels, and now I don't know if it was a desperate attempt to get him traded, but that's not how you do it. That's just not you. The player should request a trade if it's that much of a problem. and now he's being exiled from the team. To no fault of his own. Like, sure, maybe he told his dad to do this. Maybe they had a conversation about it. Maybe he even, I believe he may have liked the post. You got to be smarter than that. And it stinks because Odell, his talent is kind of being wasted on a run-first Cleveland team. And now it's being wasted even more as he sits the bench and is exiled from practice. And this is the definition of you hate to see it, because it's not a terrible problem, but you still don't like it. It's not something as serious as, Henry Ruggs, which obviously you hate to see. This is more of a lighthearted thing, but it's still something you don't like to see. And it's just, I feel bad for Odell. I wish the Giants didn't trade him. I wish they traded him to a team that prioritizes the pass first. And I wish we could have gotten some more prime Odell years. And, I'm hopeful that maybe there's some to come, but not happening right now. I can tell you that much. Not in Cleveland and not on the bench.
10 out of 10, you hate to see it. I cannot stand Odell Beckham Jr. The guy is a complete knucklehead. I do not like this guy. He's a complete idiot. Like, he has been absolutely horrible on Cleveland. He has not produced. He can't stay healthy. I don't think he is the same receiver he was with the New York Giants. I do not like anything about this man. 10 out of 10, you hate to see it. You're such a clown that your own father is now trying to ruin your career, dude. Come on, man. Right, the last one I have before we move on to Justin's content, Carson Wentz. So he was on here last week because he decided to just underhand toss it to the defense basically. And now this is tied. This is a tie game. Late, and he's in it. And oh no. He just falling down. He throws throws it 2 feet up in the air right to the Titans on his own goal line. How much do you guys hate to see that?
I'll give it. I'll give it, a 4 out of 10. I kind of like it. It's funny. It's Carson Wentz being Carson Wentz. It's Carson Wentz being not good because he's not that good. Sure, he leads the league in passes without an interception. You know how many bad passes he's thrown, how many mistakes he's made, and now it all shows up in this one video. It's just a beautiful piece of art, honestly. Just everything comes together. And the most important part of the game, yes, they came back and they tied it, but they still lost. He throws it with his left hand out of his own end zone. Sure, he's avoiding a safety. Sure, there's reasons for what he did, but it's still so funny, especially after he got his interception last week was returned and called a fumble. It's funny to see him actually get an interception as stupid as the one that happened last week. And I don't like him. For some reason, I just enjoy rooting against him because it's so frustrating to watch him play football. It's so frustrating. And everybody talks about his year in Philadelphia, and yes, he was great, but he's not good anymore. And he's not a top 10 quarterback. He's not really even close to a top 10 quarterback. Sure, maybe he's a top 20 quarterback. I'll give him that. And I think he could succeed in the right system, but you could say that about 90% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. And it's funny to see this, and it's the most Carson Wentz thing ever. He just can't, whenever he can't avoid pressure, he panics and he makes terrible decisions like this one.
Justin, while you're going through the 5 stages of grief 2 times over, how much do you hate to see it?
All right, we have a choice here. How do I answer this? Do I answer this in my own way, or do I answer this the Dan Orlovsky way?
Not the Dan Orlovsky way, please.
All right, fine. 48 out of 10. I hate to see it. But obviously it was on Halloween, so he's probably trying to, be even more scary as a quarterback than he is in the worst way possible.
The type of quarterback that makes you, hesitate every time he throws a ball.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you, it makes you doubt watching a Colts game. He's terrible. He's terrible. That's really all I have to say. He is looking like the next Buccaneers Jameis Winston. So he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. 48 out of 10. I just no.
I definitely hate to see it. 10 out of 10. Carson Wentz is terrible. I don't think he'll be a starter anywhere next year. Just like Jared Goff said, this guy is horrible. He basically called a run play, and except he handed it off to the defense 2 weeks in a row. Like, what is this man doing? Get him out of there. 10 out of 10. Hate to see it. All right, Justin, I'm going to pull up your You Hate to See It content, and you can take it away.
All right. So I got the basketball clips for the crew today. So on the Rockets, there's this player Alperen Sengun. Let's look at this free throw routine. Are we gonna, here's the thing, so we'll shoot this one. And then we're gonna see like an image of what exactly he does to this ball. Because this isn't right. This isn't right. Look at him. So he gets the ball. What the hell is he doing to that thing? Is he kissing it? Is he blowing on? Is he licking it? You gotta disinfect that thing with some effordent after that if he's licking it. Corey, how much you hate to see it?
It depends. Is he actually licking it? Is it touching his mouth? I need a side angle to tell, because if it is,
I
it's
don't know.
about,
He's being real
what's his
sus
number?
about it, though. I'll
It's
tell you
about
that.
it's about 28 out of 10 if he's actually touching it with his mouth, because that's gross on multiple levels. I can't tell though, so I'll cut it in half. I'll say 14 out of 10.
But
he
the
missed
thing
the
is,
free
it's
throw.
so difficult to tell because it looks like he is, but it also looks like he's like kissing it or just like
you'd
giving it
like
a little
to
love tap.
you'd like to think he's not.
You don't
and
know, and
smart
that's what
enough
makes
not
it
to.
bad because this routine just looks so wrong. I mean, he's making out with the basketball.
Yeah, I
Really,
mean,
he's making out with the basketball.
the other team has to play with that ball, so
Man.
I really hope he's not, and I hope he's smart enough not to. If he is, it's a 28 out of 10. If he's not, I'll cut it in half because he missed the free throw. It's still a 14 out of 10.
That's a 10 out of 10. You hate to see it. Even if he's not putting his mouth on, like, what is he doing? What is he like massaging it like within like centimeters of his mouth? Like, what are you doing, dude? I know a lot of the NBA players don't like the new Wilson ball, opposed to the Spalding ball, but doesn't mean you have to freaking like almost look like he was like talking to it. Like, don't do that. No one wants to see that. They're probably parents who brought like their little kids to the game, and they're gonna start like kissing the ball when they're practicing to look all weird. Don't do that. 10 out of 10, you hate to see it. All right, Justin's next clip, our finally hate to see it content. Here it is.
Yeah, here we go. All right. So this is the Wizards versus Celtics, Montrezl Harrell. Let's watch some dumb stuff. All right, so Bradley Beal passes it over. Montrezl Harrell just drops the ball.
Looks like we lost Justin here. Oh man.
Justin is frozen, a very, very funny position, but Corey, will start with you. How much do you hate to see Montrezl Harrell just doing whatever you want to call that?
Do I factor in the fact that the Celtics have lost this game and are losing at this moment in the game, or do I not? Because that may be a factor. It's like a 6 out of 10. It's kind of a mellow ending to You Hate to See It, but that's just funny. It's still funny. Maybe a dunk would have been more entertaining, but this is entertaining. It's something you don't see very often. So give it a solid 6 out of 10.
All right. While Justin's dealing with some technical difficulties, he'll be right back. 10 out of 10. Oh my goodness, what was that? I guess that's an attempted dunk by Montrezl Harrell. Watching it in like kind of slow motion. Oh yeah, he like drops it. There's Justin. He's back.
No, maybe that's the same ball that the guy licked. Maybe that's why I slipped out of his hand.
Maybe he licked it so it was wet, so it slipped out of his hand. You might be right, Corey. 10 out of 10, hate to see it. What was that, Montrezl Harrell?
Yeah, I just got booted out because of the connection. 10 out of 10. I really hate when that happens. But now back to this. 197. I hate to see it. You gotta make the dunk, dude. You just gotta make the dunk. You are a sixth man of the year candidate. You are a great player and a relatively underrated player. Until you do stuff like that, to where I don't have any more faith in you holding the ball in your hands. 197 out of 10. I hate to see it. Now we have that done. It's now time for our athletes of the week. So Jake, who's your athlete of the week?
My athlete of the week is Mike White. Mike White, what an incredible performance. He was 37 on 45, which is incredible. It's very hard to be accurate in the NFL. Guy had never played a game before in his life, undrafted free agent like 4 years ago. He was thrown in there, and he went for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, led them to a win over in 5-2 Bengals, now 5-3 Bengals team. Kudos to him. Mike White for president. He's my athlete of the week.
Corey, you got an athlete of the week for us?
Yes, I do. It's a little bit more of a serious note. Mine is Calvin Ridley. I really respect what he did this week. Prioritizing your mental health is crazy in sports. I see it on my team all the time. It's really important. You're not going to perform at your highest level if you don't have your mental performance at its highest level. So wishing the best for him. Hope he's able to find the help. I'm really happy that he's taken the time now as opposed to later in his career when it's much worse, and hoping he's able to find that help that he needs and return to playing, because he's incredibly talented. So good for Calvin Ridley. Glad he was able to do this and not really catch much flack for it. I think it's important, and we're seeing it more in sports, and it's great to see. He's my athlete of the week.
All right. So last week and the week before, the athlete of the week was me. Now I'm not going to do that again, even though I love to flex. But no, my athlete of the week is going to be Jimmy Butler, because he had this week in particular, he had a monster week. Going off on points, going off on steals. We've even seen him a few times shoot from three, which he doesn't do often, nor is something a small forward should be having. But he has a really good looking 3-point shot, and if he continues on this route, it wouldn't surprise me if he's up there for MVP candidacy. Really, he is really, really good. I know all my Miami Heat fans out there, like my mom, are really happy about that pick. So yeah, that is actually, ladies and gentlemen, going to be it for Jake and Justin morning today. We had a nice lengthy episode. I did a lot of information here. I want to give a quick thank you to Corey Picard for joining us today. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you.
No problem. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yep, and that's what we love to do. And by the way, one other thing, I know that Jake and I'm not sure if Corey is, tonight we are actually also going to be on the Sacred Heart University Sports Media podcast. So you get to see us twice. That's right. You guys cannot get enough of us, I know. You guys cannot get us twice. Corey, are you going to be there?
I don't think I can make that one, but I think I got enough podcasts.
That's
today.
All right. That is all.
I'm sure you and Molly and the whole gang there, you'll do a great job together. I'll join at some point this semester for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, then still you can catch Jake and I on the Shoe Sports Media Club podcast tonight. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. I'm not sure what they are, but boy, I'm excited. And also, give us a follow on Instagram. We're at The Real Jake and Justin, and then we're also for the Shoe Sports Media Club at shoe_sports_media_club, where Jake and I run that as the social media managers, if you guys didn't know. Fill out the guest form so then I can eat a bag of Takis on stream. And everybody have a great rest of your day. Peace out, everybody.
So long, everybody.